Welcome everyone to tonight's online community forum. My name is Tawana Nobles and I am the president and CEO of Tacoma Urban League. We are partnering with Metropolitan Development Council and my cohort Pam Duncan for these weekly Straight Talk conversations. Pam is unable to join us for tonight's call, but she definitely is here with us. We are also joined by Amanda Westbrook, who will serve as our moderator throughout tonight's conversation. Amanda, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tawana, and welcome back, Senator-elect Nobles. Tonight's conversation is the 26th in a series of discussions where we are diving into the different ways that COVID-19 is impacting Tacoma and Pierce County. Tonight, we'll focus on resources that are currently available to help small businesses as they navigate the impacts of COVID-19. Our guests tonight are Jessica Campbell from Lawyers Against Systemic Racism. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you for having me.
Linda Womack from the Minority Business Development Agency at the City of Tacoma. Welcome, Linda. And joining us, and she's just now getting online, is Mommy Hudson. I see her there. Small Business Navigator from the Tacoma Urban League. There she is. Hi, Mommy. And of course, Carol Wolf from the City of Tacoma is also here, and she's here in addition to Linda Womack. All right, Tawana.
Thank you. We will be here for the community throughout the COVID-19 crisis with new conversations with the purpose every Monday evening at 5 p.m. The most important message throughout this series of conversations is that there is hope for our community. Our focus is to create space in each meeting to talk about resources and things that we can all be doing to get through this pandemic.
We would like to take a moment to acknowledge this meeting is being conducted on the indigenous lands of the Puyallup people. We gratefully acknowledge that we rest on the traditional lands of the Puyallup people where they make their home and speak the Lushootseed language. Throughout tonight's conversation, you can submit questions to be addressed by our speakers using the Q&A function in Zoom. We cannot promise that we'll have time to consider every question, but we will make our best effort to get through the list in our allotted time. All right, well, let's get started. Before we jump in, I'd like to check in with all of you, including you, Tawana, to see how you are simply holding up today. In other words, how is your heart? And as I ask this question, I am going to let the silence and the spirit guide you of who jumps in first to answer that question. I will not be calling names. So there we go.
Well, this is Carol, and I will share with you that where my heart is, it's a little scattered. It goes between hopeful, exhausted, and scared. But I think my heart, I'm committed and I'm excited to be a part of meaningful work. That's how I would describe it.
Thank you, Carol.
And this is Linda here, and I must say that I feel very, very hopeful and optimistic, especially after we've heard the president-elect say that once the COVID vaccine is available, it will be no charge to, the public. And it was just, that just set a new, course and trajectory. And also Carol and I would text each other quite a bit, and she sent me something really inspirational. And I just said, once in a while, America has this great, extraordinary propensity to somehow, set a new course in the right direction where our moral compass, seems to be heading in the right way. And it just reminded me of, Ruby Bridges back in, when they had to escort her in to school, a little 6-year-old girl. I believe she was, it was 6 or 7 7 or 8 at the time. and then also the freedom riders, during the civil rights movement. So again, I feel very hopeful, optimistic, and I think, business is going to do well with all of our support and our ecosystem that we will create. So that's how I feel.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Linda.
I feel absolutely hopeful, blessed. I feel excited for our country, for our city here in Tacoma. I feel very grateful for so many incredible leaders, especially on today, Black women who are just doing a dang thing. I feel excited that so many voters turned out in this election. I personally want to give a shout out to our Indigenous community members as well, for showing up when they absolutely did not have to. I saw a quote that said they owe this country nothing, and that is so true. And yet they still showed up. And so I feel thrilled and excited for reconciliation and the ways that we will unite as a country. Yeah, that's it. Hopeful, blessed, excited, thrilled.
Yes, to all of that.
I do feel very relieved. A little bit of trepidation with still what's to come as things, get sorted out, and hopefully they, stay civil and peaceful. But also very hopeful, especially after listening to you guys speak. There is a lot to be thankful for, a lot we did accomplish, and a lot of work still to do, but we're heading off on a very positive high note, and hopefully we keep that going, and nothing gets away with that. We have peaceful transition, and we keep going in the positive direction.
I echo that, Jessica. Mommy, how's your heart today?
My heart things today when they it's confused, is heavy, is overwhelmed, but it's also hopeful and joyful and blessed. And so putting things in perspective, my heart is feeling very empowered to continue this process with as much as you really try to disengage and take your time, like you just couldn't, because there's so many things at stake. So my heart feels relief, but also I'm waiting. What's going to be done?
Yes. And he doesn't know I'm going to call on him, but Rob, I'd like to hear how your heart is, since every Monday you show up here and you give us the best technical support possible. And I care about you. So brother, how's your heart?
Well, thank you for that. I, much like others, I feel excited about the results of the weekend. Hopeful for the future, but also hopeful that there's not going to be any kind of violence in the backlash of the results of what we just all went through. So I'll stick with hopeful for now.
I love that. That seems to be the word of the hour, doesn't it? Well, let's open up with a question for the full panel. And again, I'm not going to call names. You can jump in as you want to. Let's talk about the challenges that small businesses are facing right now as we see COVID-19 spreading wildly throughout Pierce County and stalling any actions to move to phase 3 and phase 4 in our recovery. So speaking of our recovery, in that, what would allow things to open up more, or what would allow things to open back up?
Okay.
In the work that in the work that I'm doing, I'm supporting small businesses. Some of the challenges that I've faced, there's a lot of confusion. The businesses qualify, which is why, in a sense, even though it's frustrating for them to feel that way. This is one of the things that has my heart feeling joyful, is that and blessed, is that we have this position that is able to help them fill out applications, understand the process, keep track. So it's a little bit so overwhelming. But with the numbers increasing in different states, that has been another challenge. I'm trying to talk to, like, let's focus on the opportunities that are available now. We also have to be a bit realistic. If the numbers are rising, we may go back into to need, and what does that look like? So being able to start transitioning, which I think everybody thought we were going to be able to start transition to a new normal, it doesn't seem so close. So being able to work with the client and walk them through, this is what's available now. We'll get through the challenges as we meet them. It has been a little bit challenging, because how to give them that peace of mind when you really don't have answers. But I have answers for what right now is. A lot of the grants that were available ran out before some of it needed it. And so figuring out how we can manage, how we provide that help and how we provide that support has been challenging, to make sure that, they are the first ones in and that they take advantage of, because it's limited. It has been a process.
Yeah. So if I could jump in, and thank you, Mama, Mommy, that was great. And I think it captured that very well. What we're also seeing from the city of Tacoma, so I work with small businesses through the city of Tacoma, so a bit more bureaucratic, a bit more general in nature. And I also work with what we call a lot of micro enterprises, which are 5 employees or less. And what I'd like to say is what we're seeing people is just extreme fatigue, right? So all of us just checked in with our heart and we're doing work, but all of us on this website, we're probably getting paid regardless of how difficult it is for our day. The small business owners, not only are they dealing with what we're dealing with, but if they don't have customers, they're not getting income, and they're also having their livelihood threatened in great ways every day. So they're very fatigued because they have all of this information to navigate from the government and from the social situation and just all that. And then on top of, they're also fatigued because their clients are responding in their own ways. So even if government was to open, we would go to phase 3, phase 4 tomorrow. That doesn't mean that clients and customers would come back to them, right? So businesses are dealing with a lot of uncertainty. And like Mommy was saying, and I think like Linda, Antoana, and all of us on this line are trying to do, we're trying to provide technical assistance, a little bit of hope, a little bit of marketing, and we're trying to help people navigate all the information, because again, I'll say, I think our business community is fatigued. And for all of us as individuals that have heavy hearts, then you add their business that has a heavy heart. And so that's what I'd say. So how do we, as providers, as cheerleaders, as resource providers, as government officials, how do we try to simplify and help them navigate?
This is Linda here. I'm wondering how we can parlay the Pierce County, the restaurant 30% off rally, get it out to the News Tribune, maybe even to our neighboring communities, to work together to, ensure, because people do want to eat. They want to be able to, those who are employed, right, and want to spend money. But what can we do instead of just the one-on-one technical assistance, but also that, creating that wonderful PR around, hey, this is what's happening, and ensuring that restaurants also understand that this is what's going on. So do we need to, get in touch with maybe the Yelp.coms or, Google Business to say, hey, I understand that you're providing all these, resources for businesses, but can you offer some type of a discount program, something to really just get the word out? Is also what I'm hoping that we can do here as a group.
I think that's a great point. I think that a lot of people are looking for ways to help support local businesses, and getting the work out and doing those kinds of programs can help. I don't work in a small business, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to try to help small businesses. And so getting the work out to other people like myself who want to help, I think really could be beneficial. And I work with an advocacy group, an activist group, Lawyers Against Systemic Racism. So we don't focus necessarily on small businesses. But one of the things that we are looking at is how the economic crisis and COVID-19 has disproportionately affected Black-owned businesses. And studies are showing that they're being hit extremely hard right now. About 41% of Black businesses have actually closed due to COVID. So it's another thing, in addition to supporting our local businesses, is to get the word out on what Black-owned businesses are out there that need support and try to promote their business as well. I know that the Urban League has a really great resource with a list of Black-owned businesses, but it's important to try to help the entire community, including the Black business community right now, as they're dealing with additional challenges through COVID. It's often harder for Black owners to get grants. It's harder for them to get investment opportunities and things like that. So we need to try to protect and support the whole community as much as we can.
And to double dip on that comment, so what you just said and alluded to what Tawana and her team have done at the Urban League, and what I saw today driving to work when there was a sign and it said, save a restaurant, eat out once a week. It is so important for us to not just talk about what's needed, but to do those steps. So when the Urban League put out that list of Black-owned businesses, people wanted to help. Then they wanted to help where they could make a difference. And knowing that they were struggling with businesses of color, particularly Black businesses were struggling more. I can't tell you how many people, and I'll say from my tribe, my white North End liberal tribe, asked me, Carol, how do I support Black-owned businesses? Because they don't know. And I'm like, well, here's a place to go. When I drive and I see that eat out once a week, it doesn't just tell me that restaurants are struggling, it gives me an action step to take. So my husband and my family and my household, we're going to eat out once a week, even if we were maybe doing that before, maybe not, but now we will. So I can't stress enough that we need to have the call to action and then help drive people to that.
Very well said. And of course, Rob has put in the Q&A the link to that program so we can all take advantage of it. So all of you have segued beautifully into the next question, and that is, while businesses are trying to hang on, and Jessica, thank you for that 41% number, and to find new ways to operate under the current COVID restrictions, let's run through a list of resources, each of you individually that you know of, such as grants and loans that each of your organizations are offering right now to help small businesses.
I feel
yeah. So the MBDA, we are a cooperative agreement, and we work hand in hand here with the city of Tacoma. So we run a lot of federal programs, such as, and we've helped quite a bit of minority-owned firms. Thank you, Tawana and Mamie, for referring folks to us. We were able to get at least 60 businesses, and out of those businesses, I can tell you 32 were African-American owned businesses that, I cover the state of Washington, so it's Tacoma and beyond. To be able to get the SBA and also the EIDL loan. But along with that, I would like to do something a little bit more, Tawana, if we can work together to get a list, we'd like to do something more specific that we have done with the support of City of Tacoma, also with the Quickie too. As you know, they are a vegan restaurant owned by, an African-American family. And they came to us about 3 months ago. Actually, it was a little more, in March, when the link was going through, and they were concerned that their foot traffic would be, an issue. And we got together, we put together a fantastic social media campaign. And a lot of folks talk about social media, but they don't understand the platforms that are available. And let me tell you, today, they had to shut down their DoorDash business because of the increase. So I would like to do something like that, more that's specific, more targeted towards this group. So Tawana and Mamie, I'll be getting in touch with you. And it was done with myself and the city of Tacoma, Deidre Patterson. She may be on this call. So again, we have this money from the CARES Act. Both of us do our business centers. And Carol, you want to talk a little bit more about the other stuff that's available from the city's perspective?
Yes, I would. And so thank you very much. So early on with the COVID response, we were able to get out about $1 million worth of low interest, deferred payment, micro enterprise loans. We knew that wasn't enough. The CARES Act money went to the county with some funds coming to the city. We partnered, so I don't mean that in a negative way, but it came to the county. That's how the federal money was dispersed. So Rob, if you have your ability to work your technical magic, if you can put the Pierce County's community economic development website up there, they have quite a few grants and loans that are still outstanding. They have to spend that money by the end of the year. And so right now on there, I believe the deadlines are really close, but they're out there, but they have grants, and it's targeted for restaurant. It has different micro enterprise size. It has PPE, personal protection and equipment grants. So please check out the Pierce County's Economic Development website. In terms of the city of Tacoma, just today, and so I can't really announce until we get it done, but today we recently did a resiliency grant, and it was from our community development block grant funds, and it was not a loan, it was a grant, and it was meant to help businesses that primarily had not received federal or state or local funding to date, but also it was targeting, because it's community development block grant, it targeted businesses, home-based businesses and food trucks in low to moderate areas of equity, of income opportunity in the city of Tacoma. We call it our equity index. And so just today, we ran those numbers. We had to get all the applicants, all the eligible, because even though it's city of Tacoma, we still get people sometimes from Parkland and UP and Fircrest, and we have to take them out of our list, unfortunately. But we have 50 businesses that will be receiving a grant for $10,000. We're very excited. I was asking for the numbers. I don't have it, but I think we really worked to get to people that hadn't received funding before. We're in our areas of low to moderate income. And so I believe we're above 34 to 46% businesses of color and businesses that had not received funding in the first round. So we just did that today. It's not even in a press release. Our council members don't even know that, but we will get those lists out shortly. But those are $10,000 grants from our community development block grant. If we get more money, we will go through that process again, and we'll make sure that we inform our community partners. In January, the Economic Development Administration gave us another $1.1 million for the purpose of helping small business. We have that loan program coming out. We hope to get it out in about the first or second week in January. We held off because we wanted the county and other resources to be spent first. We didn't want to be competing because there is so much fatigue. And what we're doing differently this time to try to get deeper into our BIPOC community, businesses of color, smaller businesses, people that are kind of out of the general network. We're actually hiring community navigators, which are people that will actually help us. The Tacoma Urban League is one, with mommy skill sets and some of the stuff that they've been able to show their success they've had. So we can actually get deeper into the community, and these will be loans up to $25,000. We will have up to a year deferment of payments, and the interest rates are really low. And so we will be announcing that more, hopefully on this show or maybe through some of our partners, but look for that in January. The Tacoma Public Utilities currently has a $750 utilities grant, and it is for commercial entities. Rob, do you have that website or that? Okay, thank you. So people go to Rob's site there, $750, and this is for commercial, and that is really rare that you can actually get sometimes relief for commercial obligations and expenses. So please, any of you, if you need help in that area, please go to the website. Please go to Tacoma Public Utilities and check that out. $750 towards your utility fees.
And and for folks, as you can see there, we do have programs that are more grant, loans, and then the technical assistance. So businesses, sometimes I know you feel defeated because maybe you've tried before, things haven't worked out, and you're like, ugh, I'm not gonna, but really, please continue to check in with us. There's no wrong door to go through. It could be me, myself, Carol, you're on your Deidre, Tawana Nobles, Mamie. You can go on through any one of us, and we will ensure that you will get the support that you need. And we will do the best we can to support you. If not, we will at least say, okay, maybe this is what you need to do, or whatnot. So I don't want you to feel defeated. Please come look for us. Ask those specific questions, because as my mom said, if you don't say anything, you may not get anything. So just, don't feel defeated. Just, reach out to us.
To piggyback on that, that's one of the things that I tell, each and every client, we are working together. The answer, I don't have the resources, I know who has it. And I'll make sure not to one hand off, but to walk with through that process. So for all of you that are listening and looking, we are working together. We keep the lines of communications open. We're constantly in emails with each other. So the information is here, and if you access and we can walk you through, we're sure our best to do that. Carol mentioned almost all of the grants that I'm working with, but some other ones that are also available is the, here it is, I was looking for them. So the DCYF, the child care grant, it opened as well this week, and that is due on November 25th. I'm currently helping clients with submitting that, and it's to get child care licensing. And we also have, I lost it, it's so long. We have we're starting to work. So at the beginning, obviously, we wanted to make sure that we're getting connected with grants because you don't have to pay this back. So we're starting now to work also with the loans, and a lot of the loans that are available do have a loan or the deferment period. And so if you are worry about, well, if I get a loan back, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pay it back. That is the purpose of the loans that we are working on right now, to make sure that you are going to have the time to pay this back, to work with you in a payment process that makes sense. Our priority is to make sure that your business can stay open and it can survive this global pandemic. We're all going through this, and so making sure that our community can survive with your business. So if you have any questions like that, don't stay with that fear, and you just ask us and we'll tell you what your best options are to make sure that you have a successful business now and that you're able to continue.
Jessica.
I don't really have a lot to add. I did find a Washington State website that provided small businesses with resources that I linked, but obviously you guys covered everything in way more detail than I think even this website does. We don't have grants or anything of that nature, but we do have a social media presence, as Linda was talking about earlier. And if there's a business that wants us to try to share with our followers that, a business that needs assistance, that is trying to please come buy something from me before I go out of business, we are happy to share that, with all of our followers and our allies in the community to get that spread as well. So we could try to do that kind of thing via social media, and we're happy to do that if anyone would like us to.
So this group is just wicked sharp and informed, and I'm just beaming because the majority of you are women. And Rob, you have a great female heart, so we have to recognize that as well. So each of you have touched on something I'd like you to expand upon, and that is, are there challenges that seem unique to the business community in Tacoma and Pierce County? And in which business sectors are you all finding that need the most help right now? And I'm very intrigued about your answers about this.
Okay, so I guess I'll go first, and then Carol will probably back me up. We have a lot of small businesses, less than 5 employees. They always seem to be on that cusp of, oh, I just qualified. Oh, no, I don't qualify. Also, construction industry, as you know, it's been, heavily impacted, and many of, especially minority and African-American businesses are in a lot of those fields that are earth, dirt work, moving, trucking, hauling, excavation, and whatnot. And hopefully, the economy will open up a little bit more, especially with the 30-car, tab issue, because those sometimes translate right into road, highway, transportation related work. And so that's where I'm finding that a lot of our, businesses definitely need that support in terms of figuring out, okay, do I mortgage my house? Do I take this loan? Do I recollateralize the loan? What do I do? That's the high touch, high end technical assistance that's needed, so that they, it's not just about ensuring that you get your financial statements done, right? It's about ensuring that you maximize those, how you allocate for them on your, financials and whatnot, so that you're in the best position to figure out how to, move that money around, basically, to make that money work for you. And so those are some of the unique challenges that I'm finding. How about you, Carol?
Sure. And I want to apologize if you hear my cat crying in the background. They're not used to having my door shut. They're trying to get in. So some of the things that we found, and my colleague Deirdre Patterson is on this now, so I'd love to defer to her to ask at times if I miss anything. So what we found, a couple things. One, based on the tone of this, kind of conversation, how we're set up, language barriers and racial barriers. And by that, what I mean is not racism, but what I mean is we have not done a good job at developing relationships as a city of Tacoma, as an organization, with as many of our BIPOC businesses, as well as Englishes with where English is not their native language. So one of the challenges is when we say we're the government and we're here to help, one of the challenges we've had is making people go, we're serious. We really are. So that's why I'm really excited about using community navigators and developing relationships with like the Urban League, because they're on this call, but like Central Latino and other places, because that's a challenge. Because as we all know right now, government's not something a lot of people trust. So that's one of the things. And I think in Pierce County, I don't know if we're more than Seattle or Thurston or County, but I think we're pretty up there. Number two, restaurants. One of the things that a lot of our businesses did not quite have the ability to pivot to online ordering and curbside pickup. And that is a skill set. So even some businesses that you think are really successful, that do a really bang up lunch job, breakfast business, they didn't really have that ability and the technical hardware to say, I need to have an iPad to take orders online than to do it curbside. So that's something that Deirdre, and with a lot of Linda's help with her teams, trying to help people quickly jump, into that level, because people who are, I almost cussed, they're kicking backside. You know what I mean? They're kicking backside. The people that have found a way to do that, that's a challenge. The other challenge I would say is that some of our home-based and businesses, and this was something that it was either Tawana or Coleman and Associates, I'm not sure, but somebody brought it to my attention. Some of our business configurations, not just for BIPOC businesses, but a lot of your small ones, they're in a different configuration that a lot of the resources don't recognize. So home-based business is one. Different forms, like a membership-based business or a business that might be have a different format than a C corporation or LLC. They're not always recognized by financial products or even government products because we're just not good at being customized. So trying to get down to the customized level of need, that's where I can't say it hard enough. Our community partners and people listening to here, please don't assume that just because the City of Tacoma or the Office of the Minority Business Development Agency doesn't have the tool that you need, we might be able to help get you to that tool, because we try to keep ourselves informed, because those are some challenges that we have. Overly customized, people not having the technology to pivot, and then the fact that we are the government and not everybody believes we're here to help, nor do we have the skills, the cultural competency sometimes to let people know that. Deirdre, would you add anything to that? Do you have the ability to unmute?
I do, but I think you just about covered it. And sorry, my internet has been in and out, so I'm going to keep my video off so I don't get choppy. But yeah, Carol mostly hit on most of the things that we've identified, and Linda as well, and also kind of getting to the heart of some of those micro enterprises that, just because a person or a business has been around for X amount of years, it doesn't always necessarily mean that they understand how to navigate through all of these channels and paperwork and financial documents and things of that nature. So making sure that, again, we're making ourselves available and welcoming to especially our micro businesses to know that they can come to us, even if they fear that they are lacking a certain level of sophistication, and that we can help people kind of get over that hump. But that's definitely something that we've encountered, and we've had to kind of do some legwork and some intentional outreach and calling businesses directly and letting them know and encouraging them to apply for some of our programs. Even when we think that we've simplified down an application, like for our grant, we thought it was really simple. And for most people it was, but there's still those people who kind of slip through the cracks who don't quite understand some of the languages, or that, their business is eligible, or that this is something that they can easily do.
And I would add, this is something that I believe Mommy can help with, and I know that Deirdre and Linda can direct people, but people don't have their financial documents in order. So when there is an emergency and you've got money to get out there, but you need a P&L statement, profit and loss, you need last year's tax returns. I mean, I don't have my stuff done, right? But I'm a business and we need it. And some people, my sister has a business for herself. I don't even know if she knows how to do a P&L statement, but her business rocks. She's a great business person. So if you don't need services right now, but you don't have your financial documents in order, please do it, because people can't help you and Linda's office of the MBDA, and we can help direct you. And I bet Mommy has a lot of places to refer. You've got to get your financial documents in there, or else pretty much nobody can help you. I hate to say it, but that's kind of the truth.
Well, and
yeah.
we need that help right now, because as we checked in with hope, but we're also all really exhausted and it's hard. And many of the people that we're talking to right now are not seeing movement on their unemployment. They're eating off food is free tables. So to ask them to do a P&L is just one more hit. So Linda, I know you had something to say about that.
Yes, and this has been kind of a contention in the past, and I'm pretty much a straight shooter, just to say it doesn't mean that you're not keeping your books or you don't know what you're doing. A lot of times you are working your business rather than working on your business, and it's okay unless you do it every single day using QuickBooks Online and knowing, okay, maybe I should take a draw, because that's going to have impact on my financial statements. This is what I mean. Not that we're, raggedy doing our books. It's nothing of that nature. It's just that you have been so busy working on your business, trying to keep the customers happy, order the supplies, do this, your vendors. So this is where we have excelled, I must say. And, the MBDA Business Center, in that we have a bookkeeper. She is certified and she is fantastic. She will whip it out for you. So Carol, thank you for the funding also, because we do definitely work as a team to make this happen. So if that's something that you need, not your cousin or your best friends, who understands booking, but a certified bookkeeper, then what you want to do is have that, if you can, depending on the amount, you want to get that, looked at through a CPA to ensure that you can file your, taxes and whatnot, because the speed and how you turn in your application on those P&Ls will determine, how fast you get your, whether it's a loan or SBA or, in the future, even for your, to ensure that your compliance is, your SBA and the EIDL is written off. So I just definitely wanted to clear that up. It's okay. I don't even know how to do P&L statements, and I haven't. So don't feel that way at all. And finally, I would like to say, I have a great partner in the city of Tacoma, in that they are trying. I mean, I have never really seen a municipality that tries to hire people that look like you and I, so that there is an affinity, a relatability. And they have made those changes here in the last 5 years. And I'm lucky to see that, in that we operate together under cooperative agreement, but I kind of sit on the periphery. So I get to see kind of what's going on. And also, so again, affinity is important, and the city's trying to do, good things in that. So I have a good partner in that.
Thank you, Linda. Go ahead, Mommy.
I think, I think to add up, to Linda and Carol said, a lot of it is some of the two type of businesses that I've struggled with the most are pop-up businesses in catering, because the bulk of their money that would have been made during the time they were off. Also new businesses that were projected to open in this time, and so they don't necessarily qualify for this grants, because we can't quantify their loss. They don't have a previous history, and so figuring out then how to build, they still have a loss. They have the expenses that were projected to open, so figuring out how to support them. They have to pay a rent, they have to pay a mortgage, but again, they don't have that back history. Also the documentation. Some of the clients that I work with have the documentation, they have the IBA number, but there's so many acronyms out there that they have information and then they don't know that they have it because the acronym is just not clear. And so simplifying some of those, and I mean, I'm not from this field, so I feel a lot of what they're getting, and that has given me feel. And so I have the means and sources to then clear that out and then share that with them. And so, but it has been really challenging. The Tacoma and myself have been tag teaming to let people know, like, look, this is, we are the government, but you can trust us. And how do you share that in this format? And so being able to pick up the phone, like I got a side phone number, they can hear me and get a little more, stability, but definitely figuring out what the documents look like for clarification. And a lot of times I had one client that I just felt so like, because we were working on everything, but their documents just didn't get in time for one of the grants. But at the same time, it was like,
Mommy, you are cutting in and out, and what you have to say is so important. I love your beautiful face, but I'm wondering if it will help if you turn off your camera so we can hear your expertise, because we're missing it. And I'm just like, this is killing me.
Yeah, okay. Let's see if this sometimes that happens. I was just trying to figure out, navigate through what they don't know, and also navigate through that lack of trust that there is out there, and navigate through the lack of this. Sometimes that there's no technology, and I used to send, okay, I'll send you this link and that link, but then they're like, well, I don't have an email, or I don't know how to function this, and it's just like, okay, well, we got to work on that too. And so I literally have worked with clients that I have helped them create an email, and because they're great at their business, they're great at what they do, they're great at customer service, but this back end part, they don't necessarily have efficiency, and that makes it a little challenging for us to help them. But again, that's what we're here for.
Mommy, we hear you loud and clear, and
hey.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, you're powerful. Thank you. So Jessica, I have a question that's only for you. Are you ready for this?
So ready?
Okay, as an attorney with a focus on court reform and advocating to end systemic racism, what is your perspective on the importance of supporting local Black businesses during this pandemic? And I know this may seem like a no-brainer, but you are one of the few white women who have come on here and had that 41% figure that you shared. So I think you're very capable of answering this in ways that we haven't heard before.
Thank you. I think it's crucial. It's not, there's a lot of different things that go on when we're talking about the economic crisis as it affects people of color. And even before COVID, in 2018, they did a study, they looked at all the, top 500 Fortune CEOs, and only 4 of those CEOs were Black, and they were all Black men. None of them are Black women. Looking at, the wage gap, Black women make 61 cents to every dollar that a white male makes. Even before COVID, not even counting that, it's significantly harder, for a Black person in the workplace as compared to a white person in the workplace. It's harder for Black businesses to get investors. It's harder to get jobs. It's harder to get employment. And all of those things contribute to so many things in our system. They contribute to housing, crime rates, everything is all tied together. And a lot of it has to do with economics, the wealth gap, and specifically looking at, generational wealth gap, where, white people, we have a longer history of getting wealth passed down, from our ancestors, from other generations, where Black communities don't have that. We're only 2 or 3 generations at most outside of slavery, where Black people were left with absolutely nothing to their name. So correcting that, trying to make everything equitable, is really important for our entire community. And like I said, especially with COVID going on, it just makes all of that so much harder for Black business to be successful. And if a Black business is successful, their employees are going to be successful. They're going to start earning income for their families and start, helping that generational wealth gap and other, choking. It's just going to, help so much. And it's really difficult right now. Again, that number was 41% of Black businesses that have had to close due to COVID. And as a white woman who, tries to work in activism to address racial injustice and systemic racism, my focus is the court system, but again, it's all kind of related. And we do have a lot of followers, a lot of people, especially, after kind of the awakening that was George Floyd, and a lot of people where we stood up and said, we cannot stand by and see this happening and without doing something about it. And a lot of us felt that way. And, the protests have kind of died down a little bit, but one of the things that people are always asking is, what can I do? What can I do? And this is one of the things that we can do, is support local Black businesses now more than ever, to try to save them, try to help all save businesses when this is going on, to try to, try to make that difference, try to get everything to be a little bit more equitable. But especially, like I said, for people that want to try to help, want to try to do something, economics is tied to so much in our society, and we should be supporting people wherever we can, and supporting Black businesses is one of those ways that we can do that. And like it's crucial for so many things, for culture, for our society. It helps our entire society for Black businesses to be successful. So that's one thing that we can really do right now to try to do our part to help.
Well said. So this is for the whole group, unless anybody would like to piggyback on what Jessica had to say right now. Just want to make sure we have such great minds.
I wanted to add something from a government perspective for my own personal journey, and then professionally how it plays out is when you're especially government, or when you're even an individual, whatever influence you have, if you're not aware of the fact that you're probably most comfortable around people like yourself, right? That whole thing about, so when I look around and I think of my tribe or I think of my family, is it by intention that I might not be personally shopping at a Black business? It might not be, I just might not be aware. But as government, right, as a government and as part of the community fabric, it is my responsibility to understand that my role is not just to work in areas that I'm comfortable. And by comfortable, I don't mean like discomfortable or not comfortable. I mean areas that I'm familiar. And so for us, especially COVID has amplified weaknesses in the system. And so for us to recognize, even with good intentions, if we didn't take proactive steps to do things, to go, our marketing materials, it isn't just nice to have some diversity. We need to show in our marketing materials, this is available to everybody, but yes, it specifically is inclusive to you, business of color, persons of color. We needed to maybe launch information out early in different languages to different communities for it to absorb at a slower rate, because, when it's not, people that are used to being in the network, they're calling us before things go out because they're expecting it, because they know, they're used to that pace. People who are out of our network, that oftentimes people of color, lower income, we need to spend more time, because it isn't that you're trying to be exclusive to anybody, but you have to look at what you do, your habits, your pond, what ocean do you swim in? And then if you're government or you're trying to influence something, take a proactive step to get outside of it. So that's what we're really trying to do. And it has to start with, you don't know everything, and you can't you can't go on your intentions. You have to really look at your actions. And as a government right now, we are very focused on our actions, not to exclude anybody from any race, any income level, but to be sure we are focusing on being inclusive to those that are generally out of our network.
Beautifully said, Carol. So that it's like Carol's reading my list here of questions, because this also ties into, for the whole group, what steps can individuals take to help ensure that the small businesses that they rely on will be able to survive this pandemic? We know we have the restaurant program going. We've been talking about that. But what other suggestions do you have for consumers to help them, help those businesses they rely on stay in business?
I'll chime in. I think the most important thing is, saying yes and being open to the many resources in our community. Many of them are currently being underutilized. And what I love about the work that we're doing at Tacoma Urban League is we do have someone willing to provide technical assistance, but also the city of Tacoma, also in Linda's office, there are many of us who will walk with you, hold your hand to walk through what could be a very stressful process, especially when businesses are in crisis, when you're trying to keep your doors open, when you are trying to take care of, what you have poured, your heart, your soul, all of your resources into. We want to help you to save those businesses. But now my best advice now is a time to be open to help, to know that that's part of being a leader, part of being an entrepreneur, is being able to, allow community to rally around you and work with you. I know it's hard, and I think especially for entrepreneurs, these are folks who, created businesses, from the mud, from nothing, had a vision, had a dream. They're breaking generational cycles, and they have fought for independence. And so it's hard to go back to relying on someone. But this is, a season right now that we want to help community members to get through, and we will get through this. But I think just say yes to these resources, and know that while it's very humbling to need help, it also is why the resources are here, and we all need help. We all need, a lift up and someone to just be in the trenches with us, especially as we're trying to fight through this pandemic. So it is okay. I don't want folks to feel any shame or like they aren't doing anything right. Linda, I think, said it really great. None of what has been said today is a criticism on running your business. You're doing it right. You're taking care of your business. We just want to help you to also, work on your business and gather those financial documents and resources. But lean on us, because we are all here to help.
And I think, like Tawana and other people have said, you've got to have a plan. It's harder now, right? It's harder. So like for me, I know it sounds crazy, but I have to remember I need to eat out once a week, even if I don't want to, right? In the beginning, it was early because it felt like it was a unique situation. Now it's a pace. Now it's a consistency. So I need to do that. So I think that's important. The other thing, and this is going to sound almost heretical, but we need to stop using Amazon. You know what I mean? The fourth quarter for businesses right now is make or break always for the retail community. And I'm sure there's other ancillary businesses. It is so easy for me just to order a book on Amazon. It's so easy for me to order something. I need to stop it. And so I think that if you're somebody who is, serious about supporting the local economy and stuff, just find, even if you can shift 10% of your purchasing, off of Amazon to small business, it'll make a difference. I think also having a plan, like for me, sometimes I need to, I want to go out with my girlfriends, but I don't know which restaurants are doing takeout or curbside, or which actually have seating inside seating. And I should know this because I'm in the city of Tacoma, but sometimes I forget, what's the limit? What's the number of people that can go in? Is it family? Is it this? And so I need to be intentional to look up and call those businesses. I need to call, like Quickie 2. I need to call Lily's. I need to call these places and say, hey, are you open? How do I get to you? And I think that's something we can all do. It takes a little extra effort, but I think that's what we all need to think about. We need to get committed to. It's not shopping as usual. It's not doing your budget as usual. And things will take a little longer. That's what I would add as well. And I also wanted to share, and I feel bad about this because I don't know it as well as I should, but the city of Tacoma invested in an app and a website called Celebrate Tacoma. So you can go to Celebrate, you can get it to makeittacoma.com. And Rob, if you can work your technological magic and put the actual stuff in there, I'd really appreciate it. But Celebrate Tacoma, it's something, so we actually have a service so that local businesses could fill out a survey, and they're on a local app about how you can celebrate Tacoma and Tacoma's local economy. And you can actually filter it by demographics and types. So let's say you want to support, a Black-owned business, you want to support something, you can filter so you can make your own decisions. So anything you can do, Rob, to put that in there. And Deirdre, if you're still on the line, if you can find that, I should have got that information before I came on. But that's another way to help us simplify you supporting your local economy.
Well said. There is a question in the chat that I want to throw out to the group here, and it says this: can we find a way to get business district managers' positions funded again? They could be very instrumental in helping promote small business and would be an excellent use of COVID funds. Who'd like to comment on that?
Well, I'm going to be taking over again.
That's Carol.
Guys, oh my gosh, the Neighborhood Business District program is in the division in our department that I work in. So, so what I would say is right now it's the city's budget cycle. So as an individual, there is nothing stronger than you making your voice known. Tomorrow, there will be a study session at noon. There will be a city council meeting at 5. You can write in comments, you can email your council people, and you can say, I believe this is an appropriate use of funds. One of the things I just want to share with whomever said about COVID funds have to be spent by either October 31st or December 31st. So it wouldn't help you long-term. And I just want to share that because the color of money, for those of you who want to be informed citizens about how to support local economy or government action, we always say the color of money. Where does the money come from and what are the stipulations that go with it? I will throw that out there. But so district managers, so the city of Tacoma currently, and it is included in the next budget, we fund each business district. There are 15, there are 10 that have active associations, including the Hilltop, McKinley. McKinley's not active right now, but if it was, Lincoln and whatnot. And they get, I believe it's $4,000 a year for them to spend on administrative expenses. And that could be, some of them pay for district managers, some of them have membership dues. It's not enough, but if you think that's important, please advocate. If that's important to you, advocate with your council members. I did want to share that right now, we have taken some money to invest through our Cross District Association, which is a member association of the 15 business districts, money so that they can try to do small activities similar to the Hilltop Crawl that took place, I think at the end of, in August. God, time just goes by so quickly. I'm sorry. I don't know if it was August or October.
August.
August. Thank you. It was during, because they couldn't do their Hilltop block party, street party. So we're trying to have, so business districts can do socially distanced and small things on the sidewalk, but have people come out to the business district. So we are investing in that. It's not a lot of money, but we're trying to do ways to help them in the fourth quarter. But if you want government to spend money in certain ways, the best thing you can do is advocate with your council members and elected officials.
Well said. So I have 2 more questions for this illustrious panel. And this one is, what is the main piece of advice that you would offer to a small business right now? We've talked about a lot. This group has a lot of resources, but what's that one piece you think is going to turn the tide for them?
If I may just start. You have an idea and go with what you're really good at and stick to it. Don't go this way. Oh, I'm going to try this because I heard this is the new, I'm going to try that. I know you're very, it's at times of uncertainty, but you're in business and you were doing well because you were very good at what you did. So come knowing what you're good at, what you want to do, and then let us help you. You have an idea, have that core conviction, you know, that center to say, this is what I'm really good at. This is what I need support with, instead of maybe saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go, because then there's so many directions to go that we can sometimes get confused in how we can help you. And then there's like too many cooks in the kitchen, and then there's a lot going on. So I hope you know what I mean is that sometimes in marketing, they said you can't be all things to all people. So be good at have inner conviction, know you're going to be successful, stay the course, let us be here to be your guide and to support you. That's kind of what I wanted to say. Okay. Carol, you're always good at backing me up and cleaning my language up. Go ahead, girl. What you gonna say?
There's get the online. Okay, you need to have some type of social media and online presence. And you need to have that done by somebody who is a professional. And I am sorry, it cannot be your kid. It can't be your uncle. It can't be your best friend. You know, and this is where Linda, the Urban League, even Jessica, Amanda, anybody on this call to go, hey, how do I find what's a resource? If you are not online right now and probably for the foreseeable next year, I don't know how you're going to make it. And you don't have to sell online, right? You need to describe, like Linda said, who you are, what you serve, and how people can reach you. And I'll be quiet. Get the online.
Right. And it doesn't mean, don't let somebody sell you into developing a $5,000 website. That's not what I'm talking about here. Okay. There are ways now with Google Business. I know people says evil Google and all that, but what I mean is there are ways that you could be visibly online without, somebody saying, I could develop a website for you. That's not what we're talking about here. It's about reaching the people, because think about when you want to go out to a restaurant, the first thing you do is you flip that phone and you said, okay, boom, you search good Chinese food. There's ways that you can craft that strategy. And it's not just about Facebook, Yelp, Google Business. It's just, online has changed so much. There's a lot going on, and we have really what we call a social media strategist to help you. So, don't get desperate, go online and says, oh, I can sell you something for 7,000, because all that is just building a building. Okay. In the building, you need to navigate how to put, apparel here, do this. It's the same thing as online. It's become very, you need to be very savvy and sophisticated, but that's okay. That's why we're here to help you.
But
Thank
also,
you, Carol.
I just want to say, you can simplify it. We had two businesses in the Hilltop, okay? Both of them long time. One of them just did not know how to do their ordering and promote themselves online. We helped them get online through Linda's program and some of our team. They had to close down because they sold out of food, right? It was super simple. This was not a big fancy. Another business, all it was Instagram. Okay, all it was Instagram. They put a photo on their Instagram of ice cream bars that they sold. People didn't know they sold handmade ice cream bars. They have been selling out of those now. Now it's winter, probably not. People didn't know, it was just the picture. So like Linda's saying, it doesn't have to be super sophisticated, but it has to be intentional. The photos have to be good, accessing you. But we have some really simple examples. So please get online.
Mommy, go ahead.
I think to sum it up, the top 3 that I would say is focus and take action. Breathing in this time is very important. Take a step back to breathe, to organize yourself. What are the things that you need? Organize your paperwork, organize. If you need a document, write it down. What do you need? Keep track of all of your information. You are on business because you know what you're doing. So what you do is organize. Focus in terms of when we ask you, you need this document, go and get it. You need this information. We need this information. Just go and get it. We'll get it to get together and but focus on one at a time, what needs to be done, and take action. Don't let this fear of what's going on. What if, should I apply for this? Don't worry about that. Take action, because it's better to submit an application that is incomplete, that we can look back and obviously, you don't want to get into the habit of doing that, but it's better to submit an application that is incomplete that we can look back and complete than not have the opportunity at all to have the information out there. So make sure that the fear does not paralyze you, or that you get so overwhelmed and then don't take any actions. That's not good. And that's what we're here for. And as we said literally all night, we know that you're great at your business, and we only here help you continue on that business. So breathe, focus, and take action.
So beautifully said, because how many of us have ever run our own business during a pandemic? Let's just be gentle with ourselves. We don't know how to do this. So, yes, and yes. Jessica, before I ask my last question, do you have anything to add to that?
I just say keep your chin up and don't give up. And I think it's, kind of important to remember that businesses and the community have kind of like a symbiotic relationship. Community needs the business needs the community. Work together, reach out for help. Don't try to do it all by yourself, because the community is going to be there to support you if you reach out and ask them to help.
And I guess I'm going to break protocol and add to this, and that is that the other day I was laying on my on the table with my wonderful woman who does my eyelashes, and we were sitting there talking about our business. She's the owner, and she's having to lay people off again because she rode the first wave, got some loans, brought them back. Now it's starting to get thin again, and she's having to lay people off. And we had just had John Gaines on. And I was like, before we check out and I get my next appointment, you need to go call and make an appointment to do this. So while you're eating out, have this information with you. Pull the owner over and say, how are you doing? I love your business. Do you have enough information? Because that's the dessert on the meal you just had. Okay, so here we go. Last question for all of you. Where is the one area that you are finding hope right now?
Inappropriate to say completely, but that people like Juana have been elected into the state.
That's not inappropriate.
In my world it is, for, government stuff, but that people from the community who care and who are passionate are leading the way for the rest of it and for their brothers and sisters to follow. I'm hopeful because, boy, it's hard not to cuss. The chaotic world that's out there that we see on the news and we see at the federal level, it is not what I'm seeing here in Tacoma. And it's because of people like Tawana and other leaders, our mayor, businesses that are just saying, hell no, I refuse to accept, this, and we're better than this, and we've always been better than this. And I'm willing to put myself out there. Anyway, so that's what gives me hope, is people that put themselves out there to make the world a better place every day. And I see it all the time in the work that I do, and I'm so grateful. And that's what gives me hope. There's some silver lining in what we're going through right now. And that's what gives me hope.
I will second that. I think, and I said this at a radio interview that I had last week, the accessibility that we have to our elected officials. This is not, for people like in my country, you cannot talk to your mayor. It doesn't matter. You can go outside and you cannot talk to your mayor. You can't reach out to them. So the fact that I can work with our mayor, that can reach out to, Tawana, like even before, working here, I was able to give her a call and talk about things, being able to have that accessibility. So when they say that they are going to do something, not only can you check back with them and hold them accountable, but they actually do it and they make you part of the conversation. So that gives me hope. The fact that it's not, this 5,000 viewed foot somebody helping, but they are down on the ground talking to the people and asking them, what do you need? How can we help you? How do we make that? And then also seeing businesses helping businesses. I have clients who are seeking help, and with the same token, they're telling me, but also I have X, Y, and Z. So how can I also help? Can I get on that list to provide my business and to provide my services? And that's really hopeful because they're helping each other understand the need, and it's just not individualistic focus of like, I need to get out of this, but it's like, no, we all need to get out of this.
Right.
Well said.
Yeah, this does not feel like the 2008, despair from economic, the downturn that we had. And also just with the new administration, I mean, they're talking about healing, and it all translates right into the positive, COVID response and the right response, and just talking about healing. And also all of us here creating this ecosystem and talking is what makes me very hopeful, and it makes me grateful, and it makes me get up and go, okay, it's time to, let's give it another go. I've got second win now. I've got third win now. Let's do it.
Jessica, what about you, my dear?
I was gonna say 100%. It's these kinds of talks, these kinds of organizations, these kinds of things that keep us going. I really find hope in that, and appreciating the small things, getting the victories where we can get them, and appreciating them without trying to ask for something else. And I appreciate the little things like my dog, my family, just holding on to those small moments that we have that make us happy, and appreciating the battles that we do win and the victories that we do have, and meeting new people, collaborating. That gives me hope.
I love that. Senator-elect Nobles, as only your consultant who's not tied to any organization can say, it's time for you, as I often say to Pam, time for you to say goodnight, drive us home, and tuck us in, baby.
Something I'm good at.
You are.
I want to thank all of the panelists tonight. Thank you, Rob, for all of your technical assistance. Thank you, Amanda, for just always moderating a wonderful conversation. I want to thank all of the business owners who are listening tonight, all of the other organizations who are working with those businesses, just to say I'm proud of you for pulling through, for keeping your head up. You are going to get through this. And already we've seen so many of you doing it, so many of you finding success. So we know it can happen. And we are here for each and every one of you. Thank you to everyone who listened tonight on Facebook or on Zoom. Thanks for continuing to meet with us. We will have this conversation about our community and getting through this pandemic every Monday at 5 p.m. So please continue to join us. And what gives me hope is this community and the way that we are able to support each other and lift each other up and move each other forward. So thank you all, and have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Good night.